Hello, this is Tom.
And I'm Jim. Together, we're half of the rock band Jimmy Eat World, and you're watching Rock Sound.
Hey guys, James Wilson-Taylor here for Rock Sound. We're in London today, joined now, of course, from Jimmy Eat World. It's Jim and Tom. How are you guys?
Of course, we're doing well.
Doing
Good to see you. Welcome back to the UK, guys. We'll say that first of all. Last time we saw you, of course, over for Gunnersville, which was so much fun. How did you find that one particularly? That was a great festival day out there.
Yeah, no, that was a lot of fun, man.
Yeah, great playing with people like You, Me at Six and the Maine and all these bands.
Yeah, fellow desert people, the Maine.
We played, one new song? Unreleased song, too.
Yeah.
For the show.
That's
for the
exciting.
first time.
Yeah. How is that actually playing an unreleased song for a festival crowd like that? Is it an exciting moment, I'd imagine?
I don't think we've ever had a circle pit for a
Well,
brand
it's
new
exciting
song.
for us. I don't know if the fans like it.
Hey,
Yeah.
I'm sure it went down well. Well, yeah, it's an exciting time to talk to you because, of course, the new album is imminent now. Here it is. Let's start with the title. It's Surviving. Why did you choose that particular title for the record?
Well, I think the majority of the album is about what prevents you from. I mean, you could operate in a mode of living that's more existence, or you could operate in a mode that's more about living.
Right.
Like just getting by, just surviving versus trying to grow.
Yeah.
And the themes on the record, the songs on the record deal with like what prevents you from doing that. Like where what do you have to overcome to get to that point where you're in a state of growth instead of just a state of existence.
Wow. Yeah. Where did that theme kind of come from? Was that something that's been weighing on your mind for a while? Did it come together in the studio? Like this is going to be a solid theme kind of going through these new songs?
Well, I think like we don't censor ourselves when we're working. It's just about like the idea and trying to flesh it out to the fullest thing you can make. But after you get a batch of those together, you can kind of start seeing where it might be leading,
Right.
and then you can lean into that.
Yeah.
It's sort of like, well, I'm telling my subconscious is telling me this. What more about that? And you can kind of do that a little bit.
Yeah. Lean into it a bit more. Make a fuller.
Yeah, it's like,
idea.
okay, well, I guess I want to talk about this. What else can I talk about with this?
Yeah. A kind of starting point for the thought
Yeah,
process.
it's sort of like, but you gotta turn off at first. Otherwise, you're gonna just self-critique. You're gonna self-judge, and you'll never actually finish anything.
Right, sure.
And that's the trick.
Yeah, you've got to get
that's
over
the
that
real
hurdle,
trick,
and
yeah.
then you're there. Makes sense, man. Makes sense. And I guess the other kind of interesting detail, which maybe was on your mind or not, I'm not sure, but it's the 10th record, guys. It's the 10th Jimmy record. Was that weighing on your mind a little bit? Were you aware of the fact that we're going to hit a milestone here? We're going to actually make this?
I mean, the 5s and 0s are nice.
Yeah.
They're a little bit more cause for celebration for sure. It just sort of adds to the self-pressure.
Right, okay,
'Cause
yeah.
everything you do lives right next to everything you've ever done. So it better be at least that good. Or what are you doing?
Yeah.
So it's like we definitely have a standard to hit for ourselves, or what are we doing?
But yeah, it does feel in a weird way that, this is actually a moment to maybe look back. Did you find yourself looking back a little bit?
No.
Okay, fair play. Fair, that works.
I kind of do every day when we're at the studio, honestly.
Constantly looking back.
Because we'll be sitting at the studio practicing or something, and it's just funny because it just reminds me of when we first started practicing we started practicing in Zach's parents' garage and at Jim's parents' house. So it's just funny, after 25 years, we're all kind of in the same place.
Here we are.
Practicing.
Here we are, like we're at
back.
band practice.
But we're 45.
Yeah, what are we doing? On some way, that's cool, and on others, it's like, what are we doing? What's funny? What's funny about when we first started out practicing at Zach's parents' house is that his neighbors. There was a couple that lived right next to him, and they were deaf.
Okay.
And for the longest time, they had no idea what was happening because like there'd be all these vibrations. And they had no idea what was happening. And
There's an earthquake going on.
Yeah, but then they saw us like loading in one day to like his garage and like,
right,
okay,
there we go.
All right, that makes sense.
Suddenly all makes sense. Explains a lot. I like that a lot. Let's talk a little bit about some of the singles. So All the Way Stay, where did that one come from? How long into the process did that come through with writing the album?
It's a tricky question because like sometimes in general, sometimes it's like a song will happen in an hour, or 6 years.
Right. Okay.
So it's somewhere in between that. You know, like there's really if an idea doesn't complete itself by 48 hours, it just kind of goes away for later review.
Okay.
And All the Way is sort of it's kind of a combination of those things. Like it's
How old is the riff? Like,
the chorus of that song started when we were working on material for like right after Bleed American.
Oh wow.
And
Futures era.
Yeah, just for some reason it never fit in anything. And I'm kind of realizing now it's sort of like but we were always fighting for it because we thought it was a good hook with like a, you know, it sounded cool.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
you know, for whatever reason back then it just never worked. We tried to resuscitate it many times and it just I don't know.
What was it? Did it just not fit into the rest of the
I
kind
don't
of
know.
Future sound?
You
or-
know, a lot of times you work on something and you have that feeling like this is really cool. And then you try to make other things work around it. But really you just need to get rid of it. Like you can't be precious about I think was it Faulkner had the expression kill your darlings. Like you can't be afraid to like this thing you're holding on to that you're really trying to make work, maybe you should get rid of that.
Yeah,
and then see what works without it. Like and then but in this case it's like, so there was that one part and it just seamlessly fit into an existing thing that we were working on currently.
Wow.
We never throw anything away.
Yeah.
You know, because you never know when you're going to be able to cannibalize an older idea on something that you're working on currently.
Yeah. When did you kind of realize that then? So you're working on something for the new record, and then did it just kind of click? Like, hang on, wow.
Yeah, I was like, oh, you know what would work here? It's like,
Yeah.
and it did, like same key, same tempo, almost like, yeah.
That's such a crazy. Like, how often does that happen? You're able to just
All the time.
delve back in? Oh, really? Is that the method with you guys? Seriously,
Yeah, all
really?
the time.
Wow, that's funny. Is there anything else on the record then that's kind of been plucked from the archive, if you will?
Congratulations.
oh yeah.
The album Closer is another one that was like it's lingered in the conceptual area for
Right.
a long time.
In the conceptual cupboard.
Yeah,
just
'cause
left
like
there.
yeah, so like we know, you know, that's just laziness. Because it's like I know where it should end up. I know where it should start. You just gotta roll up your sleeves and dig in to make it kind of happen.
Right, sure. Man, it's so interesting. That's an interesting process for sure. It's really
Yeah.
cool to see these things kind of come back.
There's
in
no
that way.
rules. There's no rules.
Well, yeah, that's a
You
good
gotta-
thing, though.
Yeah, but it's. But in another way, it's sort of paralyzing because you can do whatever you want.
Well, yeah, when you can do it, you want some boundaries there a little bit.
Yeah. That's really important when you're working on stuff, is to give yourself some kind of parameters,
Right, sure.
and then you can be subversive within the parameters.
Yeah, makes
But
sense.
give yourself some lines to color within.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I get that. Give yourself some lines. That works. That makes kind of sense. I like that. Let's talk about what's next for you guys, really, because like I say, album's imminent. What are the kind of plans over the next? More touring, I presume, for a start.
Yeah, we're gonna be releasing videos. We're gonna be touring the world. Just kind of continuing our world domination conquest.
What's been nice as well, I've seen you guys a couple of times in recent years, and what I've found really interesting is actually there has been this kind of younger generation who were, very, very little kids when maybe Bleed American or Futures were coming out, turning up to the shows. This whole kind of newer audience seems to be coming through for you guys. Is that something you've noticed and picked up on at all?
It's really cool.
Yeah.
There's people who discovered us because Taylor Swift sang
Yeah.
lip synced it. Like that's it. They discovered us through that.
Is that a real section of your audience now? People just discover the middle through
Yeah.
that, and then that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's great, though.
They could be our parents' age.
Yeah,
Right,
they could be-
right.
They could be our parents' age.
all
They
the
could
way
be
down to,
like I have people tell me like, I saw you guys play in '96 at the Goat House. They
just a
sound
great
just
venue
like
name.
that. See, this is my old school scenester voice right here, man. I saw you in '96 at the Goat House.
It was a hell of a voice, and I love the sound of the Goat
Yeah.
House. That is a venue name.
It's really cool. There's
Yeah.
like that whole spectrum of people that show up at our concerts now.
Amazing. Man, it's so good to see. Well, yeah, hopefully we'll see you back in the UK very soon for some more shows, I'm hoping. And in the meantime, album's great. Best of luck with the
Thanks.
release and everything. And
Thanks.
we'll chat to you again soon, I'm sure.
Yep.
All
Yes,
right.
indeed.
Nice one. Jimmy Eat World, everybody.